think the screen is not that big enough to highlight probably the people from the fourth row backwards might not be able to see. So I will have the presentation running on the screen, but probably it's a good thing I brought printouts of the presentation, so at least I know what I'm going to speak about. So what I've done is, although the topic is insurance as a risk tool for minimizing risk, but I will be slightly deviating from the topic. I will obviously keep on the topic of insurance, but I will be presenting a more holistic view of insurance, mainly life insurance, and the challenges faced by a life insurance company, and some, I would say, specialized features of life insurance business which make it different from any other business. And I think the remaining three speakers obviously would be touching on the risk minimizing approach also. So I think this probably can act as an introductory part to insurance, and then the details of risk minimizing can come later. So if you can't see this, let me just read through it. I'll just present 2 or 3 slides on the life insurance industry. Madam already has shown figures up to 2009 in terms of the business figures, and I've just put an estimate of what I think, based on the figures that are available up to now, what the figure could be for 2010 in the industry. Then a bit about some special features of life insurance business. I will also touch upon sources of profits for a life company and how they emerge and how they can be managed. And then the last few slides are basically on the challenges that the management of a life company faces. I have not taken all the factors because time limitation obviously is there. I need to finish in 20-25 minutes. So I'll just touch upon some important factors there. Now, these figures starting from 2006 to 2010, I think you've already seen the 2009 figures in the previous presentation of Madam Nasreen. 2010, the expectation is that the premium from the life insurance sector would be in excess of 50 billion rupees. And I think, as Madam said, that it probably will cross the non-life. Surely, Javed is saying it surely will cross the non-life figures. So I think 2010 would be the first year when life would be the largest sector of the two. The average growth of the life sector has been around 22% over the last 5 years, and just for the last year, I think it would be around 20 or 22%, somewhere in that range. This is the industry. Madam mentioned that there are 7 players and there are 2 Takaful players. I have just added one more player, which is Postal Life, which till now is effectively unregulated by the regulator. But I think that's there is a need of time to bring that under the umbrella of SCP. Because our understanding is they don't publish their figures. They sell life insurance through post offices, and post offices are present in many villages, towns, small localities as well. So our understanding is that they do significant business which cannot be ignored, and that is part of the, even I think when we work out the penetration rate of Pakistan, 0.7%, I think probably Postal Life is ignored while working out those figures. So that should very quickly be brought under the net of the regulator. Again, this is just a pie in terms of the 5 companies, the main companies in the life insurance sector. State Life obviously being the largest one. It had a monopoly of 20 years from 1972 to 1992. So obviously because of that, it is the largest company with around 66-67% estimated market share end of 2010. Then there's AFU Life around 16-17%, New Jubilee around 12-13%. MetLife Palico around 3%, and East West around 1%. I think probably if we include the family Takaful companies, they would probably have a share of 3-4%, maybe 5% probably. Now, just a bit about the market structure of life insurance. Now, obviously, with the number of players is small. So what we would call this is a oligopoly, basically, small number of players dominating the market. And one of the reasons I mentioned was a 20-year monopoly that State Life had, and the private companies could not really operate during that time. And that obviously work against promoting the industry, because there were no new concepts which came in during that 20-year period. The distribution channel approach was the agency channel, and no other distribution channel actually came in. There are many other factors as well. Probably there is, or until the recent past, there was lack of expertise, specialized expertise for life insurance, because being a specialized business, you need certain expertise to run this business. The nature of life insurance, as we will see in some of the later slides, is such that there is a fairly long gestation period for the investment of the shareholders. The shareholders need to be patient if they have decided to invest in setting up a life company. And as we will see in the next couple of slides, it might take 7, 8, even 10 years in some cases for the shareholders to see the first signs of profit in a life insurance company. And also, I think the foreign giants which operate in this regional market, in our neighborhood, in India, for example, there are 17, 18 companies, and many of them are big foreign players. They have not really shown interest in the Pakistani market. There are obviously reasons for it, law and order situation, many other reasons, but probably that is also one of the reasons that the industry has not really grown to an extent as it could have been if a few foreign players had entered the market a few years ago. Now, I'll just talk about briefly on some special features of life insurance business which make our business different from the business of, let's say, running any other normal company. Now, as you can see, what I've tried to do is to segregate our business into two parts. One is the shareholders fund, which is the money provided by the shareholders to start the company, to run the company, and then which I would say is not the insurance part of a life insurance company. The actual insurance part is actually the block on the right hand side that you can see. That is what we call the statutory funds. That is basically the funds which show to us or where the actual business is recorded of a life insurance company. Now, the statutory funds can be multiple funds. For example, if one life insurance company is involved in multiple lines of business, maybe investment-linked business, accident and health business, pension business. So for each type of business, it would create separate statutory funds. And these statutory funds are basically a series of bookkeeping entries. Inflow coming in, outflow going out, assets being recorded there. So this is what the statutory fund would comprise of. The shareholder fund is basically, as I mentioned, the share capital. And the share capital is regulated. The law says that there has to be a minimum capital of 750 million. So that is where the shareholders make their money. Whatever profit emerges from the shareholder fund, it is obviously dependent on the profit emerging from the insurance business, as we will see later on. So what we see here is that the statutory fund is the real insurance business of a life insurance company. And there, if the assets are greater than the liabilities, so that's where the surplus emerges, and then the surplus is transferred to the shareholders fund, and then the shareholders get their return on their investment. On the other hand, if the liabilities are greater than the assets, then effectively the shareholders will need to put in more money to make up for that shortfall. So then, in many cases, the period they'll have to wait a longer period to see their profits coming out of the company. Okay, there was a lot of text there, so I didn't really go into that. I'll just speak on this graph here. I think the figures are not relevant. It's basically what the graph shows. What you see is a number of years of a life insurance company operation, and this is basically a product sold by a life insurance company, a savings product, and usually life products are long-term products. And we have a phenomenon called new business strain. What that effectively means is that when we write a new business, when we sell a long-term policy, there is a loss in the first year or in the initial years. The loss basically happens because